Just a few quick thoughts on Trump's plan for Palestine. Now, listen, I'm not agreeing with it at all. This is just a quick video to just assess it on its facts. First things first, I don't think he has any sincerity whatsoever in trying to look after the Palestinians. I think it's that enrichment of self and bodies above all else, and definitely above America. It's not even a thought. I mean, what vested interest does America have in the Middle East in that way to be that actively involved? Wasn't he going to pull all the troops back? Wasn't he the man that wasn't about war, but now he's going to acquire Palestinian land and make it American? And then be right in the heart of the Middle East and all those tensions. And I think they're going to take it really well, won't they? He spoke to everybody. Everybody that he spoke to was on board. Okay, so listen, what Trump said was complete bullshit, right? But if this is actually what's going to happen going forward, and I know about the law, and I know about ethnic cleansing and all these kind of things, right? But ultimately, if that's what America says is going to happen, then who is going to stop it? So just kind of food for thought and asking the question of the what ifs. What if that strip of Palestine, which is called Gaza, and whether it's 1.8 million or 2.2 million Palestinians are forever forbidden from returning, basically. Now, in Trump's speech, he was a little bit confused. He was a little bit confused because he was saying about how he's going to enrich it and get jobs and get people internationally who could potentially be in Gaza, which is going to be American owned into the long term, right? Basically American land. He said anybody can be there, including the Palestinians. But just before that, he was saying about how the Palestinians cannot possibly be there because there'll be a cycle of destruction, a cycle of building things up just for it to be blown up. Right? That's his words, what he said. Look at my links. That's what he said. So just to be absolutely clear, he was saying that Palestinians potentially could be there, but he spent 10 minutes before saying about how they could not possibly be there. Now, one of the other things in that debate, and I will get to what he was saying in a minute, one of the key things in that debate is that Israel does not accept any level of potential risk to its citizens, right? It accepts a zero risk tolerance. I'm not here to say whether it's right or wrong, I'm just saying that's what it is. If Israel has a zero risk tolerance, then it does matter who's going to be on that land. So America acquires it. It's that strip of Palestine, which is known as Gaza, formerly known as Gaza, cannot possibly be logically an open-ended, anybody can live there type of thing, right? The people who realistically can and will live there is probably going to be, guess what, the Israelis. Right, I'm not here to say whether it's right or wrong. It's going to be land occupied by America, technically, but really we know whose land that's going to be. And the people who are going to live there may well be some Americans, but it's only going to be the Israelis, right? And maybe a technical smattering of other people from around the world, but it has to be people that Israel feels does not pose a threat to them with their zero threat perspective on their citizens, so they have to have the most influential insight into who actually goes there, right or wrong, right? All these things considered, we go forward with the next thing that he said was, okay, there's a cycle of death in that area which is never going to end. Now, is that right or is that wrong? And before I say any more, I'm not agreeing with that orange idiot, but we just need to be honest about whether that's right or wrong. Okay, so if we think he's wrong, then who is going to stop that happening, and how is it going to stop happening? Right? There's already war crimes. Was it Netanyahu? They're saying that he's guilty of war crimes. I'm not here to say whether he is or he isn't, but if he is, then where's this proactiveness in order for him to be arrested and for them to stop anything happening? That war's been going on for forever. Even Trump said that 90% of the buildings are now flattened. So if those are war crimes, where's the rest of the world to do anything about it? And if the rest of the world are never going to do anything about it, no matter what happens, then is Trump right? In the perfect world, those who can have some influence on both sides and bring them to the table. I'm thinking about the press conference where there's only two countries out of the three that were there. I mean, that says everything, to be honest. But if there were some influence to bring all parties to the table and have some sensible debate and maybe international troops in order to ensure the safety of both sides, otherwise known as some form of two-state solution, if that was going to be realistic or possible, then that's great. But we just confirmed that it's not. Even when the rest of the world, by all the treaties that all the countries signed, say that this person is a war criminal, and they're doing absolutely nothing about it. Okay, yeah. Well, if he actually touches the land in Europe, then, technically he could be arrested. Is he going to be arrested? No. Okay, so brings us right back to, again, what is realistically possible? Is there going to be enough political or whatever motivation to back international law so that something can be done in terms of international and ethical justice for the Palestinians? So if that is yes, then let's pursue this two-state solution. But if that's a no, then exactly what the orange idiot said is going to happen probably is, and that they're going to build things up, then it's going to get blown up and displaced, and the deaths and the lack of economic prosperity and moving onwards and upwards with their lives will continue into eternity. And then nobody wins, right? Listen, this is something for genuine debate. And again, I'm not agreeing with that orange idiot, because he's in a position in order to influence things and maybe go towards something with a two-state solution. Okay? Apparently there's Palestinians that are actually in Israel, which proves it could be done if there was a willingness. So if all sides could have a willingness, then maybe it could happen. But it hasn't happened, and it seems like it won't happen. So let me know your thoughts. Do you genuinely believe in a two-state solution? Is the only solution for the Palestinians to more or less leave? And it's about the terms of which they leave, and that's going to be one or the other. Do they have a chance to hold on to Palestine, or does there have to be some better solution or alternative solution where they can start from somewhere else? I'm not talking about justice now. I'm talking about practicalities. They start from somewhere else, and they're given very generous terms, hopefully. I know that's not what's going to happen. I know that's not going to happen. But it would be ideal if it did. Very generous circumstances in which they can enrich and rebuild their lives, which is going to be in another country. Now, what country that's going to be, nobody knows, including that orange man. He didn't know if it's going to be one country, 10, 12. He said up to 12 countries or maybe more. That's how much thought he's put into it. He said he's been studying it for months or aware of it for a lot of months. So what is a lot of months? A lot of months, that's obviously not a year, because you'd say, over a year, or you'd say years. He said a lot of months. We know how much time he's put into this, how much thought he's put into it. I think that real estate tycoon is looking up. Anyway, let's not go into it. Let me know your thoughts. That is Stephen, I'm out.